back everyone. So this is the midweek video with the America. I'm going to try a few things out, and the exhausts have come on really nicely. I'm keep adding coats of paint to those. I'm going to go through probably about 2.5 cans, I think it is. I'll save a little bit for when I'm installing them, because it's always a bit iffy. Don't want to scratch it and knock it, or if I do, at least have something I can touch up the paint with. But they're starting to get that nice, not just that chalkboard look, but that kind of slightly deeper look to them now. So yeah, I think they're going to be fine as is. If those little join well bits bother me when they're in situ, you know, I might wrap a small section of wrap around them. I don't know, it almost seems pointless because the conditions I'm going to be riding in is just, they're just going to get wet, soaked, and you know, they get tatty very, very quickly. So yeah, so anyway, so that's kind of ongoing. I'm going to do a little bit of Scotch Brighton stuff, and try and get the jets done. I'm just sort of jumping ahead a bit at the moment. I should really just focus, actually. The main thing I want to do is work on getting the plastic dip I got really bored of picking off the other day, and I'm kind of shits and giggles just to see which, if anything works. At the moment, out of WD-40, rubbing alcohol and brake cleaner seemed to be the best. That did alright. I'm going to now try, what have I got that I was, I went and got some bit more carb cleaning, because I need to have that anyway. I've got a bit of petrol left over in a jerry can. See how well the petrol, because you know, that does kind of sort of destroy plastic dip when it touches it. It's the sort of sod's law. If you've got something plastic dipped that you don't want for it to come off, then guaranteed breathing on it will probably peel it off. When you want to try and get it off, it sticks like shit to a blanket, but ain't no other way. Also got some thinners out of inside the house. I'll give some of that a go as well. Yeah, it's just kind of a bit interesting, just to see if there is, me being a lazy bugger and wanting to crack on with lots of other things, is there anything that's going to do this quickly and easily? Because I mean, on a big mag wheel or whatever, or a large surface area, not a problem, but as you can see, it's just a pain in the arse with all the spokes and stuff, which I kind of knew when I did it, but you know, that was a long time ago, and I didn't think this day would come round quite so soon. But yeah, let's try it. We'll try a bit of everything. I'll film it and we'll see which results work if you're looking at removing plastic dip, or whether or not I'm just going to have to sit down and have a long time picking and peeling. Okay then, number one up for the test then is the Wins carb cleaner, and this stuff is pretty nasty. It can, if you're not careful, it can melt certain plastics and whatnot, so I'm going to give this a go. I've got my gloves on. I have got glasses on because for some reason whenever I use this stuff it always manages to spray into my eyes, and I can tell you from experience that hurts. It's smart, but let's give it a go on some of the spoke here. Spray a bit on, give it a wipe. Let's see, is that that's not bad. I mean, it is, rather than, I mean, it is marking it, it's dulling it down, and yeah, a little bit of rubbing, and that's coming off okay. But we're also looking for a nice cheap method of doing this. So I mean, petrol, I don't know, I guess it's all going to depend on how much it's going to cost, so or how much we'll use. Yeah, so I mean, I would say the carb cleaner is fractionally more aggressive than the brake cleaner. Also, I don't know, just leave it on there for a little while. This is going straight in, obviously, and rubbing it off, but oh yeah, see, leave it for a second or two. Okay, so I'm pretty impressed with the carb cleaner, I have to say. Let me just open the thinners and we'll have a go with that. Right then, so just your regular thinners. Let's give that a go. Let's get a fresh spoke. Got on this one. So the carb cleaner and the brake cleaner, they're about £5, £6 maybe a can. Thinners is about that can was about £3 I think. So again, that's going. I think the carb cleaner tends to hang around, it doesn't evaporate as quickly as the other stuff. Thinners is pretty good. I mean, they're all a bit much of a muchness. And then lastly, let's try a bit of petrol. Of course, with the petrol prices in the UK, this is probably the most expensive option. This is just stuff I've drained off the carbs. In terms of smell, I think I'm probably preferring the thinners. Yeah, the petrol's alright. That's probably taking a little bit more work. Well, I reckon it's a toss-up between the carb cleaner and the thinners. And what I like about the carb cleaner is that I can spray that in. But you're not getting that. What I was hoping for was something to just really run it off, because it's going to be a right pain getting inside all these bits. But hey ho, I made my bed, might as well sleep in it. Well, that's been a couple of hours of well, what was kind of mind-numbing, soul-destroying work to begin with. It actually ended up being quite therapeutic towards the end. But every last scrap of plasti dip is now off the wheel. Even managed to get into all the nooks and crannies from where the spokes get into the hub as well, which was a real pain. I have to say though, I did change tactic a little while, halfway through, sorry. I've been using some of the carb cleaner. That seemed to be the most aggressive initially for getting this stuff off. I'm sorry, the thinners actually was the most aggressive, keeping the rag wet and thinners on there. Very in here, I haven't got any ventilation, so I was getting a little bit happy with it all. And it was kind of getting harder to get inside here. Plus, I mean, with these rims, I mean, even when we had them, you know, they're not mint. There's pitting. The lacquer on the aluminium of the hub had started lifting in areas anyway. That was just wear and tear on the wheel prior to us plasti dipping it. So they weren't, what I'm trying to say is they weren't mint wheels to begin with. If they were mint wheels, but even if they're not actually, this is the method. What I'm trying to say is this is the method that I preferred, and that was to drown the whole wheel in the end in WD-40. And like properly drown it, have it dripping wet, let it all sit on there for 10-15 minutes, and it ends up just becoming like a gunk. In fact, if you've ever had a tattoo and you know, if you've wrapped it in cling film or you leave it there and then you sluice the gunk off it, it's kind of like that. And that just meant with the cloth, then just let it all sit there, keep spraying it on there, just as wet as you like, wiping it off with a cloth, getting in there with, you know, little toothbrushes and various little brushes. And you know, it was a fairly, there's a lot to it, and at first it seems like there's so tons to do, but you end up, as you get into it, you know, you make progress fairly quickly that way, and I'm pretty happy with the end result. As I say, there is pitting, and they're not mint. I mean, I've gone over it just very quickly with a Scotch-Brite just to take off the kind of shiny chrome edge, and it looked kind of coolish. If they were mint, maybe I'd be tempted to go with them, but there is, when you get up close, they're not pretty. So it's going to go black. The whole wheel again will just go black. But with paint obviously this time rather than plasti dip. But I think I am going to get the tyre on first, so that'll be the next step. Okay, so while we're getting the front end back together again and getting ready with the old Scotch-Brite pads, or steal all these think these are 3M ones. Just got a fine one there, and I've decided to go for the indicator mounts. There's these ones which mount underneath the yoke. Like that, which I think is going to be a bit neater. I want to declutter the top yoke where I had all that bracketry that I made up. Just less is more, kind of a vibe going on. And yeah, I got these ones, stainless steel, very beef and lovely and thick, but chrome, which I don't like. So again, I've been to and fro about what do I do black, and the temptation is great to do everything black, but I'm going to not do that with the America. I want to keep some kind of elements of colour in, but chrome ain't my thing. They're going to stay sort of that aluminium-y silver, as are the yokes. It looks a bit odd having the black on the top of that, but that's the way I'm going to leave it. But yeah, I can't be doing with the shiny stuff, so I've already started having a go at let's try and get that focused. Is it going to focus for us? Trying to get that brushed. So I've done one with the Scotch-Brite pad, and then there's obviously the one I haven't done yet, but just tried to keep it all uniform, just going over it, and for me that just looks a lot nicer. Not a fan of chrome, and that's what I intend to do with the engine casings as well. I mean, these they're not great anyway. They're starting to, well, they were pitted when we got the bike, but yeah, I just want to get rid of the shine. So we can see the before and after sides. So just a case of keep going, keeping your scratch marks going in the right. Sorry, your brush marks going in the right way. It takes a little while just to get them all, kind of get that uniform nickely look to it, but just keep persevering. Alright, well, I did change my mind. The fork lowers only are going to be going black. I think they'll look better black. So yeah, I've given them their first coat of tough black. The exhaust as well, they've had another coat. So looking nice. So yeah, these just literally had one coat, and then it's just started peeing down with rain out there. So I'll let those dry off before I give them a few more coats. But yeah, just kind of looking at them, and then I thought, no, those will look nice black. Okay, there we go. I have just been talking to myself for the past 15 minutes or so. I didn't actually press record whilst I was filming putting the tyre on, which is a bit of a shame, but there we go. It's holding air. I managed to do it without snagging the inner tube or anything like that. The only downside is I'm a little bit off with my valve marker. That just comes from probably wrestling on the floor with it and doing it by hand, but hey ho, that can make a heck of a lot of difference. But I'm loving the look of the tyre, the profile of it all. It's quite a nice looking beast. It's got a kind of flat trackery vibe to it. Just got to really decide now what I do with. Oh, hang on, that's the Bridgestone next to it as well. So a bit more presence to it, I think, which I'm pretty happy with. Yeah, what am I going to do with this? I could leave it as is and not paint it up. There is minor blemishes in the chrome. There is
some peeling, you can see just on the edge there, on the hub from the lacquer on the aluminium. Don't know, I've got to bear in mind, you know, this isn't some sort of like mollycoddling bike, this is the daily beastie bike. So I think, yeah, it's tough. I think it's going to be tough black actually. I think I will have to order up some more tough black. I haven't got any at the moment. Yeah, gonna just think on that for a little bit and move on to something else. Brake caliper possibly. Okay then, so the front wheel, got the tyre on, trying to decide what I'm going to do with it colour wise. The fore glowers, despite my adamant decision not to paint them, I've got their first coat of paint on them. So we're getting the front end sort of sorted out a little bit. So obviously one of the main things which kind of set this all off going was swapping this is Jamie's old caliper, which I swapped for mine just so he could get his bike back on the road and get it back. So I've got the piston and seal kit. I've given it a bit of a scrub and a clean up, and it's yep, all in good working shape. You've got inside here this first recess, just where my little fingernail is. It's like your dust or dirt seal, and then you've got your actual kind of proper piston seal, if you like. Is the slightly wider second one down, and then the piston's obviously sitting there. So giving it a bit of a clean. I'd just like to try and clean out the inside of here where you got like that kind of white, whatever the reaction is when you get that kind of marking on alloy from weathering inside there. And I'm just trying to think of a way to just give that a nice clean. So I've got some nice clean fresh bores to put the seals in rather than put them on anything that's a bit lumpy. And I've got the Dremel, and I've just cut up a bit of Scotch-Brite pad. That's an old spent sanding drum, and I've just screwed that over the top. I have no idea if this is going to work. Kind of should fit just about there, almost perfectly. So yeah, fingers crossed. I'll start off with a bit of a slow spin. Crank it back to 10. Just cleaned them up pretty beautifully. Job's good, and a little bit more in there perhaps, but certainly gets rid of most of the crud and whatnot. So awesome stuff. Give it another little bit of a clean, and then I think we'll be ready to put the seals in. Right, so I'm just going to round the video up by putting the pistons and the seals in the brake caliper. So I've got a little bit of brake fluid here, and I've just put a bit in the cap, and then I'll be just kind of soaking the seals in that initially. There we go. So we got in here, you got two types of seal. So one's thicker, one's thinner. So the thicker one is the one that goes on the into the thicker recess, if you like. And the thinner one's kind of like the dust seal on the outside. So we'll just pop them in, just get them covered in a bit of brake fluid. we go. That's the seals in. Get the old pistons out. These are the stainless steel pistons. These are builders' maintenance-free pistons, but I still think I would just treat them the same as any other piston. They are much nicer than the. Let me just get a standard piston. That's our that's the better of our old ones. I had a bit of a play with that one, but it's pretty. It's not probably picking up as well there, but very pitted. You can see, just a nice upgrade, I guess. Actually, not really any different price-wise to regular pistons. I think it was about £39 for pistons and seals. So there you go. One in there. One in. There we go. So they're in. I've also got one of my little speed bleed nipples, which will pop in as well, ready for that. Then I'll clean up the pads and get all that ready for reinstalling and then bleeding. So I believe in the grand scheme of things, you just open that up a quarter of a turn and then leave it, and then it'll just push the fluid out, and then it's got like a valve in there which stops the air returning. So potentially it could just make the bleeding process a lot easier, but we shall see. As I said, I've never used them, so this will all be new to me. Then, so everything else is all nicely cleaned up. Cleaned the pads up. There's still plenty of meat on those pads, so I'm not worried about that. So I'm just going to reassemble everything. I put a tiny bit of red rubber grease on the kind of sliding rubber bits here, just to keep things kind of, well, more to keep the rubbers from perishing really, or helping, trying to help to do that. A bit of copper grease for the back of the pads. Lovely jubbly. We'll put this in the grill and get it shining again, but it's not pitted. That's all good. I do tend to put just a slither of copper grease on there. I mean, on the one hand it can attract dirt and grit and make it harder, but then I try my best to keep on top of keeping the calipers clean and everything, so it should be part of the maintenance anyway. If it's getting to the stage where it's all clagged up, then it's probably not a bad time just to give your calipers a clean up. Doesn't take long. Do a little smear of copper grease on the threads. So wind them in. And finally, little cap at the top, again, tiny little bit of copper grease just in the threads of that. There you go. Right then, so that's kind of the end of the midweek video. Got a few little more jobs ticked off the list. It's been enjoyable. Main thing is tyres on the wheel, and I really like the look of it. It's looking really nice. Managed to do it without bursting the inner tube or tearing it, which is pretty cool. So I've just got to now kind of decide if I'm going to spray it out black. I think I probably should with the black fork lowers. I'd kind of maybe like to mask off the spokes so they stay kind of sort of metal, but that's going to be a real pain around the hub area. I'm obviously not going to dismantle any of this, so it's kind of easier. It's either going to be kind of do everything in black or just leave it as is. Don't know. I think it should probably go black. But anyway, the brake calipers together. Got some colour on the fork lowers. So yeah, it's kind of cool. It's getting there slowly but surely. Bits and bobs being done. So thanks for watching. Take it easy and see you next time.